Hello and welcome to this recording of 5 crucial engagement triggers to use during a live stream. I'm so excited that you're here, and my name is Salma Jaffrey. I'm also really happy that you chose this session to watch. Hopefully you're going to get a lot of value out of it. And we're going to get started right away. And right at the beginning, I just want to let you know that if you're enjoying the summit, then make sure that you share it out on social media. And my handle is at Salma Jaffrey on Twitter. So be sure to tag me at any point if you're enjoying this particular talk and you have anything to talk about and you'd like to connect further on. So with that said, I'm going to open my presentation here and get started. It's called 5 Crucial Engagement Triggers to Use During a Live Stream. Now, if this is the first time that you are watching me or you don't know anything about me, then I'm a YouTube certified coach and consultant. I also have my own YouTube channel called Be the Media. I'm the founder of a course on YouTube called YouTube Launchpad, which helps you get authority, credibility, and allows you to build your personal brand with YouTube. And I also speak internationally on stages around the world, including VidCon, VidSummit, Video Marketing World, Inbound, and other video marketing conferences around the world. So that's a little bit about me. And the number one place to really go and check me out is my YouTube channel. So you want to go to youtube.com/Salma Jaffrey. That is really the place to go where you can watch. I have over 150, or 170 videos up on my channel. So if you're interested in learning about YouTube marketing, then that is the place to go. Also, I would encourage you to get my free YouTube masterclass. It's also linked along with this session. It's at salmajaffrey.com/subscribe. And it teaches you the 3 most important things you need to know when you're starting out on YouTube on how to grow on YouTube, even if you have 0 subscribers and 0 views when you're starting out. So how to start out and how to grow. All right, so with that out of the way, let's get into this presentation. I want to make you some promises, right? So I want to promise you that I'm going to show you 5 engagement triggers that you can use in any type of video, whether that's a live video, a training, a recorded video, a webinar, whatever kind of video that you are making. This presentation is applicable to pretty much every kind of video. And also at the end of this presentation, I'm going to tell you where to go for more information about how to be more present on camera and how to keep your audience engaged. So type yes if all of this is okay with you. And we should get started. So I hope you guys are having a great time already inside this particular bootcamp. I think I love live streaming. I love using live streaming. I think that live streaming is a great way to build an audience, build a community, and also to get that initial camera shyness out of the way. That's how I started. I started going live way back on Periscope. Do you guys remember Periscope? That was like the Twitter app. That's how I actually started with video. Way before YouTube, I was using like live video to get my camera shyness out of the way. So let's get started. Why engagement triggers? So why do you want to engage your audience? Well, there are a number of really, really good reasons why you would want to have a highly engaged audience, no matter what kind of video you're doing, right? Let's get into some of those reasons. The first one is audience buy-in. So the minute that people start to engage with you, they are in it. Right? They feel more connected. They feel like they have a stake in the content and in their own learning, and they are all in and they're engaged, right? So that's the first reason. The second reason is that algorithms, no matter what social media network you're going live on or making videos on, algorithms absolutely love live videos and they love engagement on those live videos. So they're likely to show your videos to more people, the more engagement there is on it. They are, and thereby you're going to reach more people because algorithms love engagement. So the more people are liking, sharing, commenting, and watching your videos, the more likely it is to get shared out, to get promoted in social media algorithms, and to be found. And therefore, you are going to be found more easily the more engagement that you have. And finally, the third reason why you absolutely want to build those engagement triggers into your videos is because of community. So there is a feeling of we're all in this together, we're all here, we're all talking, we're talking amongst each other, we're talking to the presenter, and then you as the host get to feed off of that energy. It's like a high, right? When you're doing videos and people are asking you questions and there's a buzz, there's energy, right? And that makes you feel even more committed, and you do an even better job than you would if you were just all by yourself in a room filming a video, right? So it's that energy and it's that connection. So those are some of the reasons why you want to build engagement into every single type of video that you do. Now, I'm going to show you 5 types of engagement triggers that are really easy to use. I'm going to show you some examples, and I'm going to show you how you can actually use them. So the first one is called the relatability trigger. Now, the relatability trigger is used right at the start of your live stream or your webinar. And its purpose is to show people that you and them, we have common points. We have connection points. We are the same, right? So you could start off with saying something like, who else is experiencing warm weather? So if that's something that you think your audience will relate to, who else is struggling with working from home with kids? Who else is planning their next live stream, right? Yes, in the comments, if that's you as well. So you want to start off with a question that makes people feel like they can relate to you. So find something that people, and you can tie this back into the content of your video, right? So for example, if the content of your video is about cooking at home, you can say, who else is cooking at home right now? If the content of your video is about doing yoga exercises every day, then you can say, well, how frequently are you doing yoga? Or how frequently do you want to be doing yoga every week, right? So you want to get that relatability trigger going, and you want to get that early yes going. So I do this in my webinars. I tell people that type yes if you're okay with whatever it is that I promised them, right? And usually I get a bevy of yeses coming in. And really, that's what you want to do with the relatability trigger. It's an early yes, a quick way to for people to feel like they are on board with what's coming up next. So the relatability trigger is something that you can use to make people feel more connected to you and to the content that's coming up. So you could even do this using funny memes and stuff. So for example, you could say, which one are you? Are you the guy who's like having a really hard time with homeschooling? And obviously I'm making this right now. We're all in lockdown right now. So this is very relatable for a lot of people. Or is your daily lifestyle called quarantine? Or you're like just an extrovert and you cannot wait to go out and meet people. So which one are you? So this is a really fun way of getting that first relatability trigger. People can type in a 1 or a 2 or a 3, right? A really easy, really quick win that you can do right at the start of any kind of video that you are starting off with. So a relatability trigger helps you get that first yes. It puts people at ease. It makes them feel comfortable participating, and it establishes that initial connection. So that is really the point of having a relatability trigger. The next one we're going to talk about is the value trigger. Now, in my opinion, this is probably one of the most important triggers that you can use. And the reason is that this one is a game-changing engagement trigger. And I'll show you why. So you want to use this at the end of a section in your live stream. And I'll explain what I mean by sections, but you want people to feel like they are owning their wins. They are owning their takeaways. They are owning the value that they're getting from your videos. Now, this is a really important thing for people to feel as they are consuming your content, for them to be able to articulate value, right? So how do you do this? So first of all, you want to divide your presentation into clear parts. I usually do like 3 different parts. And at the end of each part, I ask something like, what's been most valuable for you so far? Or you can ask, what's been the biggest takeaway for you up till now? So some variation of that question is what you want to ask people. And when I do this, I typically divide my presentation into 3 parts, because usually I do a lot of webinars and live trainings that are about 1 hour. So in 60 minutes, I usually divide my training into 3 parts. And at the end of every single part, I'm going to put a value trigger. Right? So at the end of every single part, I ask people, what has been most valuable for you so far? And then people start answering, oh, this was most valuable. Like in this particular chat, you can see that I'm doing this webinar and I put this question up on screen and people start to answer what is the value that they gained from watching my webinar or a part of my webinar. Right? And what this does is that it lets people decide what is most valuable for them. So you really want to be able to do this. And the reason you want to be able to do this is because people suddenly shift into a growth mindset from a fixed mindset when they have to articulate the value that they are receiving, right? It invites people to partake in their own learning. They become active participants, and that expands their mindset, right? So that makes them feel they can learn anything, which is what a growth mindset is all about. I can learn anything. The second thing it does is it helps people to articulate their value and to own it. You see, the thing with value is that it's more effective when people tell themselves what they learned versus you telling them what they learned, right? And so you can say what you think, you can put it into words, you can say it to other people. What do they actually understand from that, right? Maybe a subset of that. So you might talk about 10 different things, but for them, that one thing was really valuable. The other 9 were, okay, kind of meh, whatever, yeah. But that one thing was the thing that they're going to take away that was the most valuable for them. And the interesting thing about this is that it's going to be different for everybody, right? So somebody's going to take away something, another person's going to take away something else. So you want people to be able to articulate the value, own their value, and then you want them to be able to say what they learned. It's more effective when they're saying it rather than when you're saying it. And the third reason you want to do this is you want to show people opportunity versus problems. So you want a light bulb to go off in their head. You want them to have an aha moment. You want them to feel like, oh, wow, I never knew I learned this. This is something new. I just figured it out. So the opportunity wheel gets geared in, like it starts because now suddenly they've shifted from seeing something that was a problem for them before, and now they're viewing it as something that opens a door for them, something new, a new way of thinking for them. So I find that the value trigger is a really, really important trigger, and I include it in every single presentation that I do, especially every single live webinar that I do. The third kind of content trigger that we're going to talk about is the content trigger. Or I should have said the third type of engagement trigger we're going to talk about is the content trigger. Now, this is probably the easiest one to include in every single video. And you can include this anytime you're delivering content. And why you want to use this and when you want to use this is you want to make sure that people are listening and they're paying attention to the content that you're delivering. So that's, sorry about that. So you can use it at any point when you're delivering content, right? So how you're going to use this is you can ask a question that's related to the content. So for example, in this particular presentation, I want to ask you, how many times do you want to go live this month? So if you're viewing this, let's say in May, right? So how many times do you want to go live in May 2020, right? So the reason that I'm asking you this question, and I'm keeping it really simple, is that I want to make the answer really easy and really quick, but yet give you something to think about. So you could say, I want to go live once, I want to go live 4 times. So it's a really easy answer, but it helps you to connect with the content. So I'm making sure that you're paying attention, you're listening, you're engaged, and you are able to participate, right? So for example, this is a screenshot from the comment section of my YouTube videos. Now, the YouTube video is called How to Get Your First 100 YouTube Subscribers in Just 7 Days, right? And then I ask people to comment below with how many subscribers you currently have. So again, a really easy, relevant, pertinent content trigger, right? And as you can see, I got 229 comments on this particular video, which is insane to get that many comments on a YouTube video just by people answering how many subscribers that they have. And then I can open up a conversation thread with them and show them how to get more, or encourage them, or, celebrate with them if they have lots of subscribers. So it really opens up that communication channel and that conversation channel. So that's what you want to use the content trigger for. Now, the benefits of using this is that people feel like they are being heard. They are being valued. They are being listened to. And you really want to allow people to share their journey and to share their opinions by using the content trigger. So you want to ask something relevant to the content that they can then answer, but then also the answer is personal to them. So, for example, how many live streams do you want to do this month? It's personal to you, right? Your answer is going to be different from everybody else's answer. So the same way you want to ask a content trigger where the answer is personal, the question is generic. The fourth engagement trigger that we want to get into is the audience trigger. So this is a really interesting trigger because it helps your audience give you feedback and ask questions. So you want to use it anytime you want two-way communication, right? Anytime you want your audience to be free to ask you anything. And I get it. A lot of people are like, whenever I open up Q&A, people are like, nobody's asking anything, or nobody's the first to ask a question. I'm going to show you how to get that audience trigger rolling. Okay, here we go. So you want to assign a dedicated time, first of all, for audience questions. You want to answer them live whenever possible. You want to use their name whenever possible. And you want to let them know that it's a valid question so that you encourage more questions. The worst thing somebody wants to hear is that that's a stupid question, or I can't answer it right now, or let's discuss this later, right? You want them to know it's a valid question. So that's the first thing you want to say to them. You want to say, first of all, you want to say, okay, I'm going to set aside 10 minutes now. It's a dedicated Q&A time, and I'm going to take your questions. Does anyone have any questions? Then you can start to take people's names. If you can see their names in the chat, you can ask them, Adriana, do you have a question about what we just learned? Or Julian, what did you think about this so far? So you can start to encourage them to ask you questions. And then the minute they ask a question, you want to say, well, that is a great question, or that's an interesting question, or I would love to answer this question, to encourage more audience participation, right? So I typically do this with a Q&A section at the end of every webinar. And I just tell people, okay, you know what? Now I'm not the one giving the training now. Now it's your turn. Now it's your chance to ask me whatever you want. Just like at a job interview, an interviewer would be like, do you have any questions, right? Just like that, it's your chance. It's now the audience's chance to participate. And then people start asking me stuff. And they start asking relevant questions when you put it in that context, right? And then also the other thing that happens is that you are encouraging peer-to-peer encouragement and participation. So this screenshot is one where other people in my live stream are encouraging somebody who's just getting started with her YouTube channel. So they're like, Aneta, you've got this. Aneta, you already have great camera presence. Just hit record. You can do it, right? So I love the fact that the audience trigger actually builds more community. It encourages audience participation, and it encourages others to participate more, and it encourages peer-to-peer interaction. So you actually walk away from a live stream or a webinar or a recorded video having made some friends and connections, because you're all participating and everyone's asking questions and everyone's encouraging each other. So that's the way that I like to use them, and that's the way that I think they work really amazingly well. All right. So those were the benefits. I just discussed all of them just right now. But also, really, I think that nobody really wants to be the first, and that's kind of crucial. So you kind of want to get the ball rolling perhaps by asking the first question. You're like, okay, does anyone have a question about so, for example, in this live stream, I could say, does anyone have a question about how to do the value trigger? Or maybe do you want to see some more examples of the value trigger? So I could start it off by saying the first question, and people will be raising their, yeah, I want to know more about that. Yes, I want to know more about this, right? So you can just start off the question stream by actually asking the first question yourself. So that's a little side tip there. All right, let's get into the fifth one, which is one of my most favorite ones. It is called the likability trigger. Now, what's the point of doing all these videos and live streams and all these videos if nobody's going to see them and nobody's going to share them and nobody's going to be liking and commenting on them, right? So you want to encourage likability and participation. So the time that you want to use this likability trigger is when you want to encourage social proof, and you want to make it okay for people to say that they like your stuff, they love you, they're enjoying the content, they're going to use it, like any kind of positive feedback or even critical feedback, you want to encourage it. So anytime you want to use your live trainings or your videos for social proof, you want to add in a likability trigger. So how do you add in likability triggers? This is how. First of all, you can ask people to like the video if they're enjoying it, or share it if they feel it's valuable. So make that ask. Ask people to like it, to share it, right? And give them a reason. Hey, if you're enjoying the content, give this video a like. If you think that this is something valuable and other people should hear about it, then please go ahead and share this broadcast out, right? So you're encouraging them to actually trigger the likability trigger, right? Then the next thing that I love doing is ask people to screenshot the screen and post it on social and tag you. So sometimes you're giving value bombs and you're like, I'm going to leave this up on screen, give you guys a second, screenshot this and go ahead and tag me on Twitter and let me know what you thought about this, or share it out on your Twitter stream, right? And you can even pose for pictures. Like a lot of people do this, like when they're doing live streams or they're doing YouTube videos, they'll pose for a picture and say, hey, screenshot this. And they'll literally pause while they're doing the live stream so that people can screenshot it. I think it's a fantastic way to encourage people sharing your stuff out and getting that likability trigger rolling. And the third one is to make tweetable quote slides with your Twitter handle and hashtag. And I'll show you an example of how I do this. So this was a presentation I gave at Inbound. And you can see that I have a slide up, which is a quote, and I have the tweet icon up there, and I'm telling people tweet it out. And people are actually tweeting it out. It actually works, right? So the quote is something that I believe in. It's something that was very intrinsic to the presentation I was giving. Create something so good that you keep asking yourself, what else can I do with this? And people tweeted it out. So this is a great way to get that social proof, get that likability trigger rolling, get other people to see and come back to watch your presentation because somebody's getting value out of it. So you can make little quote cards, little tweetable moments within your presentation and embed them within your presentation for people to take screenshots of. Another way to do this is by getting social proof for whatever your main product is. So for example, for me, my main product is my YouTube Launchpad course. It's my flagship product. It is the course to help people to build a personal brand with video. And when I start talking about it in some of my live streams and in some of my videos, and I have my clients or my students inside those live streams, and then they start talking about it as well. So for example, Ermi is saying, yes, I'm in YouTube Launchpad and I love it. Kenny, I love Launchpad too. I'm currently on module 2. I finished it in October. So you get that social proof rolling in by talking about the thing that you want other people to know about. So you want to start talking about your offers, you want to talk about your products, you want to talk about your services, you want to talk about them in a way and to an audience that is going to be sharing them further on. If they have personal experience with it, invite them to love you, invite them to share their experiences, right? So this is how you get the likability trigger rolling. And of course, the benefits for the likability trigger is that your content is seen by more people, because the more people share it, the more people are going to see it, right? But then the other benefit is that getting that social proof and those testimonials. So it's not you promoting your content, it's other people promoting your content, which is way more powerful than if you were just talking about it. So I think that that's really, really powerful and a really good way to do it. All right, let's recap. So we talked about the relatability trigger, which gets that first yes in the door. So find out what can you say right away as soon as you start making a live stream or a video or a webinar or training or whatever. Get that first yes in by talking about something other people can relate to. Next was the value trigger. You want your audience to own their takeaway. So ask them, what has been most valuable for you so far? That's the key thing you want to ask them. The third one is the content trigger, which helps your audience feel heard. So let them ask you questions relevant to the content. Also, keeps them on their toes and make sure that they're actually listening and paying attention. The fourth one is the audience triggers. You want to have a dedicated Q&A time. You want to encourage participation. You want to encourage questions. And you also want to encourage peer-to-peer communication with the audience trigger. And then the final one is the likability trigger, which gets you that social proof, which gets you those testimonials, and which also allows your content to be shared widely and seen widely and gets you more visible. So those were the 5 engagement triggers. Now, at the beginning of this, I told you that I'm going to share something with you. So stay tuned. That's coming up, where I'm going to share what the next step is. Okay, so I'm going to share that information with you. But meanwhile, what I want you to do is I want you to tweet me your questions and any feedback you have about this presentation at Salma Jaffrey. So I'm Salma Jaffrey everywhere. So if you don't want to do it on Twitter, you can do it on LinkedIn or Instagram or even on YouTube. So I am Salma Jaffrey everywhere, but Twitter would probably be the easiest way to ask me questions. Anything relevant to this particular presentation, you can screenshot any of this, share it, ask me questions related to this, and I will make sure that I get on board and answer your questions. Now, I did tell you where to go for more information. So the place I want you to go to is to get my pre-camera routine checklist. Now, this is a really important thing that I do before I get on camera. So I make a lot of YouTube videos. I do a lot of live streams. I do a lot of webinars and presentations and trainings just like this one. And I have a set routine. So I am making sure that I am engaged, I am energetic, I know my stuff. I have all my gear, my tech worked out, right? So all the things that I do, and it's a really simple checklist that you can follow to make sure that you are actually camera ready. And you can grab that from salmajaffrey.com/camera confidence. So that is the place to go to grab my pre-camera routine checklist for all the things that I do to get camera ready. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation, and I would obviously love to hear what you thought about it. And I would obviously love to hear how the 5 engagement triggers apply to you and to your work and your business. Let me know which one was your favorite engagement trigger and which one you think that you're going to be using right away. And also remember, you don't have to use all 5 of them together. Like, that's not necessary. You can maybe use 2 or 3 of them in each live stream and in each video or presentation that you're doing, and that would help you to get that audience participation rolling in. And another thing that happens is as you do them consistently, your audience actually starts to preempt them. So when I start to ask people what has been most valuable for you so far, people are like, yeah, I knew this was coming. I knew you were going to ask me this, because it's become like a trademark sign, and people know that I'm going to be asking them. So they're like paying attention, and then they're ready for it. So they're like, okay, what am I learning here? What is my biggest takeaway? So you can also sort of like customize and personalize these engagement triggers so that your audience starts to associate them with you. I hope this was valuable for you. I hope you got tons of aha moments and takeaways from this. If you did, remember to tweet me and let me know what you thought of this presentation. And also check out my YouTube channel for more information on making videos and growing your personal brand, building your authority, and building your credibility. I hope that you enjoy the rest of this live streaming bootcamp, and I'll see you somewhere on the interwebs. Take care.